This bill and the budget it derives from demonstrate quite clearly that the Chancellor has implemented stealth tax grabs which will hit some of the lowest paid the hardest, by extending a freeze on income tax thresholds and with the national insurance contributions increases which suppress employment and wages. It is full of short-sighted, harmful decisions we cannot support. Our amendments aim to highlight and reduce some of the more harmful impacts, and I'll focus on 4 particular areas today. First, the impact of frozen income tax thresholds and new clauses 15, 16 and 17, which seek to secure additional information and analysis about their impact. Worrying figures from the OBR, as already mentioned, suggest that as a result of continuing to freeze the income tax thresholds, an extra 1 million pensioners will be dragged into paying income tax for the first time by 2030-31. This disproportionately impacts those on low incomes who will be dragged into income taxes for the first time, and at the very least, we've stated to please provide that information. Next, the impact of the government's actions and inactions on youth unemployment. This is building to a real crisis point. 16% of all 16 to 24-year-olds in the country are out of work. That's almost 740,000 people. That's 100,000 people up in the last year. 100,000 people up in the last year. So something is going wrong with the government's policies there, and I really think we need to be getting to the bottom of that. So our party has tabled new clause 14, which requires the Chancellor to review and report on the impact of this bill on unemployment with particular regard to young people aged 16 to 24. And it's worth noting that this legislation, which dampens growth and hits jobs, comes at a time of broader disruption in the labour market. AI is already having an impact, particularly on entry-level so-called white-collar jobs. So we would really look for some help to see whether we can create a new employer's national insurance contributions band between 5,000 and 9,100 with a lower rate to incentivise employers to hire often younger part-time workers. I'll move on to the point we highlight in new clause 13 about the complexity of the tax system and the cost of administrating, and there is a green brick sitting there masquerading as a bill. What we would really like to see, and the government has such an opportunity now in this Parliament with such a majority to really do some serious thinking about how to simplify our tax code, root and branch. And what is disappointing is we see no sign of that actually happening. Finally, on agricultural and business property relief, we welcome the government's U-turn, and we wish it had not taken a year of stress and fear, and farmers and business owners in my constituency have just lived that, and it's been hell for them and their families. But we're very grateful for that to have happened and appreciate that. However, the government has now picked static thresholds which do not rise with either land values or the cost of living. So we would really appreciate it if the government could explain why it has decided not to index that. And for that reason, we will therefore be pushing new clause 11 to a vote because we really want to see that fixed. Thank you.